Hello dear friends, today we will solve a problem from the connecting rod. I hope you all might have gone through the design procedure. Okay, read the question. Design a connecting rod for a petrol engine from the following data. Cylinder bore or diameter of the piston 100 mm, length of the connecting rod 350 mm, maximum explosion pressure 3 megapascal, length of the stroke 150 mm, engine speed 1500 rpm, weight of the reciprocating parts 25 newton, and compression ratio 4:1. These are the datas available with us, and we have to design the connecting rod based upon these datas. Now let us move into the solution part. In the initial step, we will be calculating the gas load. Gas load is nothing but when the petrol or the diesel or the medium of combustion get ignited, a large amount of pressure is exerted on the top of the piston like this. This is the piston head. So this pressure exerts the reciprocating piston downward and thereby transmitting the forces to this connecting rod. So the gas load is nothing but pressure into area. The diameter D that we are going to use here is the diameter of the piston, which is given as 100. So the value of gas load we are going to get is 23,561 Newton. Now in the step number 2, we are supposed to calculate the inertial load. We have to consider the weight of the reciprocating part. In this question they have given the weight as 25 Newton and we have to calculate the inertial load. Inertial load plays a very important role in the design. So the equation given is Fi max is equal to 4 pi square by g into 10 power minus 3 r n square Wr into 1 plus 1 by n. Now let us discuss each and every term clearly. R is nothing but the radius of the crank. So in the question they have given only the stroke length. So twice the radius of the crank is nothing but the stroke length. So from that we can get the value of RS, stroke length by 2, which is going to be 75 mm. So R is over. Now N is nothing but the speed in RPS. What we have given is the speed in RPM 1500 divided by 60 will give you the value of speed in RPS. Wr is the weight of the reciprocating part, that is given in the question as 25 Newton. And finally the last term N1. N1 is nothing but the ratio of length of the connecting rod to the radius of the crank. For in this question they have given the value of L and we have calculated the value of R. So N1 can directly calculate it from this relation L by R, which is equal to 4.667. Suppose if we don't have enough data in the question to find out the value of N1, then we have to use the data given in the data book. This L equal to 527 or L by R is equal to 425, L by R is equal to 5.426, L by R is equal to 3.224. Like this we are supposed to take the values of L by R or simply N1, and we have to use in this equation. So upon substituting all these values, what we are going to get is the inertial load as 5726 Newton. So moving forward, we have the step number 3 where we are supposed to calculate the total load acting on the piston, which is nothing but the gas load plus the inertial force. So here we are considering that the inertial force and the gas load is only acting. We are neglecting the frictional forces just because there is no mention about that in the question. Now here we have assumed that the piston is in accelerating condition, so here given the sign as negative and we got the value as 17,834. You can consider that your piston is in decelerating condition also, no issue. Now moving forward with the step number 4, we have the force acting on the connecting rod. The equation is nothing but equation 3.12, page 52. I think you all are familiar with this equation because in the previous lecture I have shown you the data handbook where all these equations are there, what all equations are there and how to use that. But here for the simplicity we are considering that the total load is nothing but, or the force acting on the connecting rod is equal to the net load acting on the piston, which is equal to 17,834 Newton. So we are considering that all the forces developed in the piston has got transmitted to the connecting rod and thereby to the crank. That is the assumption that we make. Now comes step number 5, where we are supposed to calculate the value of Ixx and Iyy. Ixx is nothing but the moment of inertia about the x-axis. This is the x-axis. This is the x-axis. So to consider the moment of inertia about Ixx, what we do is we consider that the equation of Ixx something like this. From where this came from, we are going to consider this entire I section as a rectangular box of size 40 into 5t. So we are going to subtract the moment of inertia of these two rectangular portions from the entire rectangular section. Thereby we are going to end up with the moment of inertia of this I section. So the entire, if we consider the entire length and breadth and thickness, then the total moment of inertia of that rectangular block will be breadth into depth cube by 12. So breadth is 40, depth is 5t cube by 12 minus, we are going to subtract this and this from this. How? Because total is 40, this length is t. So this length plus this length is going to be 3t. Similarly h is given as 3t. So breadth into depth cube. Breadth is 3t divided by depth is 3t cube by 12. So Ixx is nothing but 419 by 12 into t raised to 4. Now comes the Iyy. Here please don't get confused here because we have got 3 Iyys here. One is the Iyy one here. This is Ixx and Iyy. Second one is the here and this one, and third one is this Iyy. These three are the Iyys. This is Iy1, Iy1, or this can be considered as Iy1, Iy2, I3. Since these three Iy1, Iy2 and Y3 are in the same vertical line, there is no need to consider the parallax theorem, or in other words we can say that the parallax, by using parallax theorem we can say the net moment of inertia Iyy is nothing but Iy1 plus Iy2 plus Iy3. So if we consider this particular axis, this is going to be the breadth and this is the thickness. That comes t into 40 cube by 12. This is not into 3, it is cube. This has to be cube. Please make a note of that. This is not 3. This is something like power 3. Something like this. Just t into 40 cube by 12. Plus, if you consider the second section, the mid section, then the breadth is 3t, depth is thickness. So breadth into depth cube by 12 plus, similarly for this one, breadth is going to be t and depth is going to be 40. So t plus 40 cube by 12. So the net value of Iyy is going to be 131 by 12 into t raised to 4. This is the equation of Iyy. Now let us see what is the value of Ixx by Iyy. So if we divide these two values, we are going to get the value as 3.2, which is an acceptable range because it is not very less or it has not gone beyond 4. Anyway, 3.2 is an acceptable range. So we are considering that this is the cross-sectional ratio that we are going to choose. Now this same I section and the same size is given in the data handbook, and if we use the same value of dimensions provided in the data handbook, we are going to get only 3.2. But please keep a note that If there is a variation for the I section, if the dimensions has changed when you write the examination, then you have to find out the Ixx and Iyy in this manner, and you have to find out the ratio. Now after this we will go for the calculation using the Rankine formula. This is the Rankine formula where we are supposed to substitute all the values. To substitute the values, we should have the value of sigma c. Sigma c is nothing but sigma by factor of safety. So assuming that a sigma of 330 by 5, we are going to get 66 Newton per mm square. It's an assumption only. And k is a Rankine constant that can be easily obtained from the data handbook. Value is 4 divided by 25,000. And finally area is what? Area is the area of this section plus this section plus this section. So the total area is going to be how much? 11t square. Now this is the equation we are substituting. We have to substitute like 66 equal to sigma z. What is the value of sigma c? Or Fc divided by A. Fc is the net force divided by area. Area is nothing but 11t square equal to sigma z is how much? 66 divided by 1 plus k. K is nothing but the Rankine constant. The value is 4 by 25,000. Now L by k. L by k is what? Length of the connecting rod divided by radius of gyration. Radius of gyration can be obtained use dividing I by A. Or you have got direct equation in your data handbook, substitute it over there, get the value of k and L by k, and you after substituting here, the only unknown parameter is going to be what? Thickness. So solving this equation, the value of thickness that we are going to get is 6 mm. Along with this step, we will calculate the section modulus also. This is applicable and useful in the final step. Also the value of area, 11 into 6 square, 396 mm square. Now in the step number 5, we have calculated all these things. We have calculated the Ixx value, Iyy value, and we have used the Rankine formula. The reason for using the Rankine formula is nothing but we are considering the the connecting rod as a column with whose both ends are hinged. So we have calculated the value of thickness using in the step number 5. Now comes the step number 6, where we are supposed to calculate the designs of the small end. Small end consists of one main thing, which is nothing but the diameter of the piston pin, and second one is the length of the connecting pin. So or the piston pin itself. So these are the equations given. All the substitution is straight. Pi into capital D means small d itself, 300 square. This is not 1002. It is 100 square into 3. We are assuming that the maximum pressure acting is 3, or it is given in the question as the explosion pressure is 3, divided by 4 into L1. Here you have to be very patient, because L1 by P ratio we have assumed, L1 by D ratio we have assumed it as 0.5. So the L1 is going to be 0.5 into 100 into PB. We are assuming it as the value is given in the data handbook is 12.4. So upon substituting, the value of the diameter pin is going to be 38 mm, and thereby we can calculate the value of L1 also. Similarly, we will go for the design of big end, where we will be calculating the crank pin. Everything equation is given over here. All these substitutions are straight away. There is no need for any kind of confusion. So upon substituting all these values, we are going to get the value as 46 mm of the diameter of the crank pin. Also the length of the crank pin is obtained using the equation 3.14, and we can use this equation for the calculation. See, there are two other sets of equations given in the data handbook, 19.12c and 19.12d, where they have stated as dP1 equal to 0.67d to 0.73d. D is the diameter of the piston, and D1 is not LP is equal to 0.5 to 1.5 dP1. So using this relation, if we calculate, we are going to get the value of dP1 as different value. So compare these two values and select the maximum value. So for this question I have assumed that it is something like this. Now we have to consider the design the size of the big end bolt. See, big end bolt consists of two portions, two bolt. This is the usual size of the bolt that is being used in the connecting rod. So you have got two pins acting on the two sides into area of the core area of the pin, and the only unknown parameter is what? dV. So the value you are going to get is how much? 8 mm square. So the core diameter is nothing but 8 mm square. Based upon the that value, we are going to select the or standardize the bolt using the tables available there in the chapter of the threads and fasteners. Now we have to calculate the thickness of the cap using the equation Tc is equal to root of 6m divided by L3 into sigma d. These two portions has got so many calculations and you may find it difficult. Please don't worry. Where m is nothing but Fi into L3 divided by 6. Fi is nothing but the inertial load that we have already collected. Now comes the L3. L3 is actually length of from the center to center distance of the bolt. And in that path, if we travel, we can see that there is a bolt bearing diameter dP1. There is another term you have to use is 2 into thickness of the bearing shell plus thickness of the bearing plus bolt diameter and the allowance. So L3 is nothing but the value of crank bearing pin is dP1 is 67 because I have assumed it as 0.67 d. So 0.67 into 100 plus 2 into thickness of the bearing shell plus thickness of the bearing is considered as 3 to 4 mm, and the thickness of the bolt circle bolt diameter 8 mm, and finally the allowance 3 to 10 mm. Upon substituting all these values, you are going to get the value as 84 mm. And now we have to substitute back in this equation Tc, and for that we are assuming that the material has an yield value of 360 megapascal, and we are considering the factor of safety as 6. So the allowable value is 60 megapascal. So upon substituting the equation for Tc, the value obtained of the thickness of the plate is 10 mm. And in the final step, we are supposed to calculate the weeping stress, which is direct. The equation is directly provided in your data handbook. You have to directly substitute it and get the value of sigma b as 13.37 megapascal. All the other data, there is no need to worry about any data. Only thing is about the small w. Small w is the weight of the unit volume. So what I did was I assumed the density of the material and multiplied by 9.81 gives the unit in Newton per meter cube. So on substituting the value of the sigma b we have obtained is 13.37 megapascal, which is lesser than 60 megapascal. So we can conclude that the design is safe. Now see, this is a very fundamental question. You can expect many type of questions with a lot number of data. So consider that while solving the problem. Okay, so kindly solve these questions once again and try to have a good idea about the design procedure. All of you should try this and see what is the output you are going to get.